So now we go to doves. What's their nature? Doves are cautious around risk. Why? Because they are concerned that if they take unnecessary risk, people will be harmed. If a dove feels disconnected in a hybrid environment, then they will become more cautious because they don't have visibility. They don't have that intuitive sense that if they move a little bit further down the road than was absolutely prescribed, that it wouldn't hurt, wouldn't cause collateral damage. So their nature is to be cautious. In a hybrid environment, they're likely to be more cautious unless you really take steps to alleviate that. So what frustrates doves? Up and down, conflict, ambiguity, stress. And in a hybrid environment, and look, the strength of hybrid environments, I haven't talked about that. I've just been talking about the issues. But the hybrid is wonderful, right? Because hybrid does give people the freedom that they wouldn't have if we all had to be either out of the office or in the office. So hybrid is wonderful in many ways, but it is more complicated, and that creates inconsistency, and that does create volatility. And back-to-back Zoom calls creates a transactional mindset. Okay, we done yet? Next. Are we done yet? Next. That's difficult for doves. That's not how doves derive value in relationships. So back-to-back Zoom calls is exhausting for doves, not just because it's back-to-back, but because people are just in this mode of getting to the next conversation, and that's not connecting for doves at all. So the unpredictability that we're talking about here is difficult for doves. What are the warning signs? Well, even in a meeting, doves don't tend to dominate conversation, but on a Zoom call, forget about it. It's much easier to hide. So if a dove style is not feeling comfortable, I'm sorry, just checking out the chat line here real quick. If the dove's not feeling comfortable, sometimes they'll just turn off their camera. And that's not good. That's not good because, body language is still a huge part of how we connect as human beings. And I think there's a Penn study that body language is like some crazy 85 to 90% of communication on Zoom is body language. So if you've got Zoom calls where half your people aren't on video, you really don't know what's going on. When doves are feeling disconnected, they'll pull back. Okay. So what do we do about that? First of all, bring doves in early and often and provide as much contextual information around decisions as possible. That's in a regular set of circumstances when we're all together in the office. In a hybrid environment, even more so. Once again, explicit communication. If you've got a lot of change going on in your organization, doves are amazing change ambassadors. Why? Because if you bring them in early and then set them loose and say, hey, socialize this information to the folks and let us know how they feel. Doves are really good at that. They're really good at harmonizing. What does that mean? It means it's your dove style. So they'll say, okay, here's what we're doing and why. What do you think? And then you tell them, well, I'm happy about it, not happy about it, on the fence. And when you turn your doves into change ambassadors, they come back with intelligence on what the collective opinion is about the change. And in a hybrid environment, that's even more important. It's a great function for doves. They're great at it. A, they genuinely care. B, people know they genuinely care. And so the communication is rich. And the intelligence that you get back will also be rich. Doves appreciate consistency. In a hybrid environment, that can be difficult, right? Because people have different lives and people have different schedules. So to the extent that you can be consistent in your communication with doves, meaning a certain time, a certain place, certain cadence, it's very helpful to doves. Whereas with parrots, the bigger the group, the better, because there's more possibility for connection and innovation, fresh ideas. For doves, smaller groups are typically more comfortable. A dove style is more likely to contribute out loud in a smaller intimate group than in a large group.